Hello, my name is John, and today I have the pleasure of sharing a story with you. Now, first, you might notice that I have a few things on my head here, a few hats, a few caps. Now, that might have something to do with the story we're about to read. Now, the name of the book is Caps for Sale. It is a story about a peddler, some monkeys, and their monkey business. It is written and illustrated by Esfer Slobodkina. So we will begin here. Caps for sale. The story begins. Once there was a peddler who sold caps. And a peddler is someone who sells things, a salesperson, sells things from place to place. Now, this gentleman was not like an ordinary peddler, carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. First, he had his own cap, a checkered cap, then a bunch of gray caps, a bunch of brown caps, a bunch of blue caps, and on the very top, a bunch of red caps. Now, mine aren't quite as color coordinated as his, but this guy has a lot of caps. I didn't quite have that many caps. Now, he walked up and down the streets, holding himself very straight, astute, as to not upset his caps. Notice, if he bent from side to side, those caps, they're going to topple over. Now, as he went along, he called, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." Remember, he is a peddler trying to sell caps. That's how he makes his living. One morning, he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up and down the street calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." But nobody wanted any caps. I don't know, maybe they already had caps or didn't like the colors of his caps. But nobody wanted any. Nobody even wanted a red cap. He began to feel very hungry. He had no money for lunch. He couldn't sell any caps. So he decided he would go for a walk in the country. He walked out of town, again, slowly, upright, so his caps would not fall off. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. There he is here, tree. He thought, that's a nice place for a rest. Because he was tired, hungry. He sat down very slowly under the tree. He leaned back a little against the tree trunk as to not disturb his caps. Then he put up his hand to feel as if they were straight. First, he checked his own cap, the gray cap. Then he checked the brown caps, the blue caps, the red caps at the very top. The caps were all there. So he went to sleep. He slept for a long time. So we're going to put our heads down here. Yeah, it's been a long day. We're hungry. We're tired. We're going to take a little nap here. Oh. Oh, boy, time to get up. Oh. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. Now, before he stood up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place. And all he felt, wait a second, all he felt was his own checkered cap, his caps. So he looked right, no caps. He looked to the left. No caps. He looked behind him. He looked behind the tree. No caps. What could have happened to his caps? He's down to one cap. Uh-oh. But then he looked up into the tree. What do you think he saw above him? On every branch of the tree sat a monkey. On the head of every monkey was a gray, a brown, a blue, or a red cap. All of his caps, except his own checkered cap. The monkeys had absconded with his caps. So the peddler looked at the monkeys. All the monkeys looked back at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he decided to speak to them. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking a finger at them. "You give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their fingers back at him and said, "Tst, tst, tst." This is not going to make this peddler happy. In fact, this made the peddler angry. So he shook both hands at those monkeys and said, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook both of their hands back at him and said, "Tst, tst, tst." Now, as you can imagine, the peddler was not happy about this. He felt quite angry. You know what he did? He stomped his feet, his foot, and he said, "You monkeys, you better give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stomped their feet back at him and said, "Tst, tst, tst." Now this time, this peddler is very, very upset. So not only did he stomp one foot, he stomped both his feet and he shouted, he yelled at those monkeys, "You monkeys, you must give me back my caps." The monkeys only stamped both their feet back and said, "Tst, tst, tst." These monkeys are not cooperating. So you know what he did? He became so angry, he pulled off his own cap and he threw it on the ground. And he began to walk away. But then the monkeys, you know what they did? Each monkey pulled off their own cap and they threw it on the ground. All the gray caps, all the brown caps, all the blue caps, and all the red caps, all of them thrown on the ground. It's almost as if the monkeys were copying what the peddler was doing. The peddler shook one hand at those monkeys. You know what the monkeys did? They shook one hand back. The peddler finally threw his hat down. You know what the monkeys did? They threw their hats down. So the peddler, he picked up all the caps, put them back on his head. Let's see if I can find mine here. They didn't go too far. If I had looked to my right, they probably would have been there. First, he picked up his own, the checkered cap that he had thrown down. Then he picked up the gray caps, the brown caps, the blue caps, and the red caps. Those went on the very top. And slowly, he walked back to the town calling, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." And that, my friend, is the story of Caps for Sale, a crazy day for a crazy peddler. And I think the next time he runs into those monkeys, I don't know, maybe he'll realize the monkeys are copycats. And all he would have needed to do is throw his hat down. Thank you guys for letting me read that story. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.